A dog gives birth to a litter of puppies. The puppies don't survive. It happens. Neonatal loss is common in domestic dogs, and when it does, what comes next is something most people never expect. 2 days later, the same dog is nursing a litter of kittens someone brought to her. She had never met them before. Not reluctantly, not confusedly, with the same attentiveness, the same protective posture, the same grooming, the same vigilance she would have shown to her own puppies. As far as her behavior is concerned, these kittens are hers. This is not a rare anomaly. Hundreds of cross-species adoptions have been documented in the scientific literature. Dogs nursing kittens, gorillas carrying orphaned monkeys for months, lionesses repeatedly adopting baby antelopes, the very species they hunt. The easy explanation is that these animals are confused, that the maternal instinct misfires, that they simply can't identify the species they're looking at. But that explanation falls apart immediately when you examine what these animals are capable of. They are not confused about species. They know perfectly well what they're looking at. A dog knows a kitten is not a puppy. A gorilla knows a monkey infant is not a gorilla infant. These are animals with highly developed sensory systems and sophisticated social cognition. The behavior isn't confusion, it is a deliberate, sustained, energetically costly investment in an animal that will never share a single gene with its adoptive parent. So the question becomes, what is actually being triggered here? If it's not confusion, not misidentification, not error, then what is it? The answer lives in a biological system so fundamental that it operates entirely below the level of species recognition, below choice, below anything that could be called a decision. Newborn animals, across virtually all mammal species, produce a specific and consistent set of chemical and sensory signals, cortisol profiles in their skin secretions, particular vocalization frequencies, contact pressure patterns when they root and suckle. These are the signals of neonatal need, and they are ancient. These signals are not species-specific. They are mammal universal. A newborn kitten produces the same broad chemical and sensory signature as a newborn puppy. Distress hormones at comparable concentrations, warmth-seeking contact behaviors, the particular frequency range of infant distress vocalization that evolution has been tuning and conserving across mammal lineages for hundreds of millions of years. The signals predate the species separation by an enormous margin. When a postpartum female mammal encounters these signals, her oxytocin system responds. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, the molecule at the center of social connection and care, surges in the presence of neonatal cues. And it does this regardless of what species happens to be producing those cues. The receptor doesn't know, it just fires. The oxytocin system does not check a species identification before responding. It checks for the signal pattern. If the pattern matches neonatal distress, warmth-seeking, the particular contact pressure of an infant trying to feed, the bonding cascade begins. The cascade doesn't have a step that says confirm species before proceeding. There is also a critical time window. In the hours and days immediately following birth or loss of a litter, the maternal hormone system is primed. Oxytocin receptors are at peak sensitivity. A female in this window who encounters a neonatal signal may bond with whatever is producing it. This is why cross-species adoptions most commonly occur in females who have recently given birth, recently lost a litter, or in the late stages of false pregnancy. The hormonal window is open. The system is looking for something to bond with. The kittens arrive into that open window. They produce the signal. The dog system responds exactly as it was built to respond, with full maternal commitment. The fact that the signal is coming from a different species does not register. The gorilla carrying the monkey infant is running the identical process, encountering a neonatal signal and responding with the full weight of a maternal system that has no species filter built into it. The monkey receives warmth, protection, physical contact, and social integration, care that was calibrated over millions of years for a gorilla infant, now delivered to a monkey. And the lioness who adopts the antelope, her natural prey, the species she has hunted her entire life, is following the same chemical logic. The antelope infant produces the neonatal signal at full strength. The lioness's oxytocin system responds as it was built to respond. What the antelope is in the world outside that chemistry, what relationship they would normally have, temporarily doesn't reach the system being triggered. These adoptions are not always permanent. When the hormonal window closes, when the bond chemicals normalize, the adopted infant may be ignored or abandoned. Some adoptions last days, some last years. The chemistry determines the timeline as much as the individual. But while it lasts, the care is real, fully real. The energy expenditure, the protection, the feeding, the vigilance, these are not reduced or half-hearted versions of maternal behavior. They are the complete system, running at full capacity for an infant that shares none of the mother's genes. Now here is where this stops being only a story about animals and becomes something more uncomfortable and more interesting, because humans carry exactly the same system. The oxytocin receptor, the neonatal signal detection, the bonding response, we inherited all of it, and it doesn't only activate for human infants. The reason humans feel an overwhelming urge to protect a distressed kitten or a crying baby animal on a nature documentary is the same system, the same oxytocin response, the same neonatal signal detection, triggering across the species boundary. The impulse to protect a baby animal isn't sentimentality or weakness or confusion about what it is. It is the mammalian care system running exactly as it was designed to run, triggered by a neonatal signal that it was never told had to originate from your own species. The signal arrived. The system fired. Everything else is downstream of that. There is something worth sitting with in this. The care the gorilla gives the monkey, the milk the dog gives the kittens, it is physiologically, behaviorally, and energetically indistinguishable from the care given to their own young. The body doesn't give less because the recipient is different. The system doesn't know how to give less. It only knows how to give. The love, if we're going to use that word, is not less real because it was triggered by chemistry rather than kinship. It was always triggered by chemistry. In every species, including ours, the chemistry is what makes the love possible in the first place. Knowing the mechanism doesn't make the outcome less true. The next time you feel a pull toward a baby animal, the urge to protect, to help, to move toward it rather than away, don't dismiss it as irrational or sentimental. You are running a system that has been keeping mammal infants alive for over 200 million years. It is one of the oldest things about you, and it just doesn't check your passport or the infant species before it fires. The dog is still nursing the kittens. She doesn't know they're kittens in the way we understand knowing. She knows they are small and warm and hungry and here, producing every signal her system was built to respond to. And for the biological system that is running her care right now, that is entirely, completely sufficient. If this changed how you see the next animal you feel an urge to protect, or the dog that nurses the kitten, or the gorilla that carries the monkey, subscribe. We keep pulling apart the hidden systems behind the wild. The wild mind is everywhere around us. Keep looking. I'll see you next time.